Okay, so welcome to our Winter Solstice event. My name is Rachel Lundberg. Everyone that's here in the room, can you hear me okay? Okay, great. So I'm really honored that you're here. This feels like such an incredibly special time of year. It's a time I used to loathe. I used to really not like this time of year. I would dread, I'm not talking necessarily like Christmas. I thought Christmas was great, but the dark time of year is something that used to cause a lot of sadness and anxiety for me, a sense of overwhelm and a desire to really just get out of town in any way, shape, or form that I could. And I still have those moments, but over the years, let me just turn this off really quick. And if I move slowly, that's also part of my program right now. But as I started to learn about the winter solstice, my perspective on this time of year has changed drastically. And I honor this time of year as a time for each of us to go deeper inside, just in a succinction with nature. So you've probably heard that a million times, and that's probably why you're here. Okay. So winter solstice is going to be on Wednesday. That's the actual day of the winter solstice. And so coming and being here this evening, we're preparing ourselves for this very beautiful and sacred time of year. Now, the way that I look at the winter solstice is it's the new moon of the year. Okay, it's the dark moon of the year. So the summer solstice is the full moon of the year. It's bright, it's full of light, shedding light on everything. It's the fullest it gets. And then what we forget is that in the very middle of summer, or kind of in the beginning of summer, actually the beginning of summer, we start ushering in the darkest time of year. So if you want to get depressed in the summertime, because that's when the darkest time of year starts. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No, so we are actually, after Wednesday, we welcome back the light, and traditions throughout eons of time have known this. And we have a bunch of ceremonies, rituals, and practices that we've been doing for eons around this time of year. Hence, lights. The lights that we see in the windows, the lights on the trees, the lights on people's houses. It's been a celebration of the return of the light for as long as I know of humans being on the planet, understanding that cycle and that rhythm. So one of the ways too that I like to look at the winter solstice is that it is the pause. The pause is the magic. So I talk about this in my yoga classes about the pause and how the pause is where all the juicy good stuff is. And there are pauses at the beginning of every inhalation, and at the end of every exhalation, there's a pause. There's this little space, and it's why I like to envision it like you're on a swing, and as you inhale, the swing goes up. And you know that feeling when you're suspended in the air for just half a second? You may or may not like that feeling. I'm somebody who likes the feeling of that suspension in the air. And then we go down through the exhale. And then we suspend on the other side, and then we swing back. And so the solstice means the sun stops. It pauses. Our day is short, the shortest of the year, and then it slowly returns to the light. So as we are moving into our winter solstice day on Wednesday, tonight I invite us into integration. When we are looking at our lives, how many of us have days, years, or months that we just want to forget about and just move on? Anybody? Oh, I wish that didn't happen, or that was a really stressful time. A lot of us feel that way about the last few years, right? Let's just forget about it and move on. So when we do that, it's like we are rushing ourselves through a meal, and we're not allowing ourselves to digest the meal. And then the meal gets stuck in somewhere in our body, and it starts to feel gross and yucky and heavy. And it's the same when we don't allow ourselves to integrate our experiences fully. Now, integration is a lot like composting. How many of you compost? Okay, so we take like all of the scraps. Some of them maybe were delicious, some of them are gross. Maybe we getting the stuff out of the yard and we throw it in this big mixture and it starts to break down until it becomes a rich, rich soil. And it's like revered, it's like gold, right? And that gold is what feeds the new crops for the new year. Well, right now we have the opportunity to take what we've experienced in our 2022 year, and maybe even previous to that, and turn that into beautiful golden compost for our upcoming experiences coming into 2023. So as was described for our evening, we're going to be doing some gentle movement, some meditation, and some very open and free intention setting. This isn't going to be vision boarding night. We're not trying to set a bunch of goals. Really what I'm inviting all of us into, myself included, is we're going to integrate the past, present, and we're going to open ourselves up to the future. Kind of like, is it the Christmas story? Is that the one? I get the names mixed up. But I have 3 glass candle holders here. One of them is going to represent the past, one of them is going to represent the present, and one of them will represent the future. And we're going to go on a journey this evening. And that's why I invited you to bring your pen and paper. I also invited each of you to bring something that represents 2022 to you. And some of you may not have gotten that memo, and that's okay, because we'll be able to do that while we're here together. But some of you did bring that with you, so have that close by. That may be a letter, a picture, something that represents what the year has been for you. And then something that you'd like to bring into 2023, an intention, a way of being, a way of experiencing life in the world. So whatever things you may have brought with you, just have them close by. And what we're going to do right now is I'm going to have everybody turn off their candles. So everyone that's here in this space, and if you have a candle at home that's burning, see if you can blow it out, as long as you know you can turn it back on here in a minute. We're going to turn off all the candles. I can figure out how to turn them all off. There we go. Okay. Now, beyond my work as a yoga teacher and the opportunity to kind of be at the helm of the ship here at Thrive, when I work with people individually, I do what's called journeying with people. And the journeying is about experiencing and embodying something inside of you. We oftentimes approach our lives with a lot of processes and procedures, with a lot of advice from people, with a lot of belief systems that we've grown up with. But there's a much deeper and wiser intelligence inside of each of us. And if we can just kind of let the mind take the background, the wisdom of our heart and our body will begin to speak to us. And so tonight, what I invite each of us to do is to be open to the opportunity to connect more deeply with our experience of 2022, with winter solstice, with the future, via our heart and our bodies. So how do we do that? I invite you to just be comfortable wherever it is that you're seated. If you're not comfortable, don't force yourself to sit there that way. Get yourself cozy. There's even chairs up here. You don't have to sit like I'm sitting or anyone else. As much as you've heard this before, I'll say it again, but what you seek is within you. And so I invite you to place one hand on your heart, maybe even both hands on your heart, and close your eyes. And we're going to create a container for our evening together. that is generated from the energy of the heart space. And there's not anything super special that we have to do to connect to our heart other than to breathe nice and slow. And imagine that your heart itself is the one taking in the breath. So the heart is receiving the inhalation, the heart is exhaling. Allow your jaws to relax. And even if your mind is going a million miles an hour right now, you're still actively choosing to connect with your heart. Now, I invite you to imagine that your heart is like a loving grandmother or a loving mother. And your heart cradles your mind, scoops the mind up, puts the mind in your lap, soothes the mind, and lets the mind know it's okay. The heart has this one. You might feel a sense of melting, softening in your energy body, in your physical body, as your heart cradles your mind. And then if you can connect into the actual space of your heart or the center of your chest where the heart chakra lies, imagine that there's a tiny little drip that's dripping down into the bowl of your pelvis. And that tiny little drip is going to continue to pull the mind into the heart and the heart down into the pelvis so that you are in your body. Most of the things that you struggle with, that we all struggle with, can be resolved in the heart space. So we invite the heart to guide us as we move into our winter solstice ritual, celebration, event. Like a loving mother or grandmother cradling each of us and allowing us to experience the fullness of this time of year. Now allow your chin to gently drop down toward your chest. It's as if we're bowing to the heart in gratitude. And then when you feel ready, gently open your eyes and bring your chin up. I'm going to share with you a few tools for you to use tonight throughout our practice. They are going to be, and you can write these down. These are ways for you to get out of your mind and into your body. And I want you to know that these resources are available to you so that as we journey through the past, present, and future, you have these resources available to you. Breath. So write down breath. Movement. And sound. Those are the three things that will anchor you into your body. Breath, movement, sound. Those are three things that people have been using from the beginning of time to be in their bodies: breath, movement, sound. Even if you already know this intellectually, it's very different than embodying it and actually practicing it. The next one is journaling. And the last one is journeying. Journeying. All of these will help with the integration of your experience. Whatever your experience is this evening, moving forward, breath, movement, sound, journaling, and journeying. And we're going to be exploring all of those tonight. So once you have that written down, I invite you to lie down on your mat or on the floor, wherever it is that you are, and just set your things off to the side. Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to bring a candle on just so that people at home can see my face a little bit at least. Okay, so we are going to explore first of all our breath. So lying down in whichever way feels most comfortable for you. I invite you to place your hands on your belly or anywhere on your body. If it doesn't feel comfortable to put your hands on your body, then don't. There are no fast and hard rules here. When I work with people and introduce the idea of breath, movement, and sound, there's always a big nod in the room, like, yeah, of course. But then when we actually do it, people get really kind of timid, especially when we start making sounds. So I want to make it super easy for you. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Keep going with that. Inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your mouth. Naturally, when you exhale through your mouth, do you hear a sound? If not, make it a little bit louder. Also, like a whooshing sound can be helpful on the exhale. You've mastered 2 parts of getting in your body: breath and sound. Now see if you can allow yourself to make a nice big sigh on your next exhalation. It might make you feel uncomfortable, and that's okay. Allow yourself to be uncomfortable. These are very healing sounds for the body. It allows your jaws to relax, allows your belly to soften and your pelvis to soften. Now, listen for a moment as you're lying there. We're going to inhale through our nose, and when we exhale, we're going to, just listen. You'll hum throughout your entire exhalation. So inhale through the nose, hum throughout your entire exhalation, and then start the cycle again. Mm. Keep going. On your next one, it's going to be and then keep going with the in one more of your own cycles. And at the end of that, just pause. Magic is in the pause. We're going to bring this breath and sound, and we're going to incorporate movement with it now. And this can look like anything. I'm going to come into all fours on my mat. And I know that on the video, you can't see me super great, but using my breath and sound, I'm also going to begin moving. And maybe you want to move through some more traditional yoga poses, or maybe you just want to lie on your mat, take your knees side to side. So breath, movement, sound combined, and it can be as simple as just exhaling through your mouth. As big or as little movement as you want. Breath, movement, and sound. Go ahead and begin. Sometimes it's great to take your head gently to the floor and allow the top of your head to just massage on the ground. Releasing tension from the head, the neck, the shoulders. So just exploring. This is not about a choreographed movement. This is about your own breath, movement, and sound. All right, and we're going to gently bring that to a close and either come onto your back or into child's pose or into a seated posture. Throughout time, cultures have moved emotion and experiences, trauma, transitions of life through their bodies with breath, movement, sound. It has been used throughout time. We have lost touch with that in many ways. So as often as you have the opportunity to connect to your breath, movement, and sound as a combination, you are moving energy. You are moving emotions. When the grief feels too heavy, it's meant to move through your body. The anger, the frustration, the sadness, let it move. Let it express. The joy, the gratitude, the beauty. Breath, movement, sound. All right, so now that we're familiar with this tool, I want to make it comfortable for you or invite you into allowing it to be comfortable to use this tool throughout the rest of our evening, when and if you are ready to and want to. The next tool we're going to explore is our tool of journaling. Now, what I'll be doing is turning on some music and allowing you about 3 to 5 minutes to journal about 2022. What about this year? And some of you have already done this and you've brought maybe a letter with you, but there's a couple things that I want you to explore if you haven't already. What about this year impacted you the most? And I'm going to bring the lights up a little bit so we have some lights to see. So what about this year impacted you the most? Did you experience anything in 2022 that you feel like you have not yet integrated, digested, allowed to settle in to your composting bin? Anything from the year that you haven't allowed to digest, integrate, or settle into the composting bin? Something that maybe you just wish would go away. Can we invite even just a tiny little bit of that into our practice tonight? There may have been losses in the past year, failures, illnesses, births, celebrations. Maybe this last year is the last year that you will be carrying something that you've maybe been carrying your whole life. And instead of getting rid of the things, what if we allowed them to become the rich gold soil? The earth does not turn anything away. She receives it all and she renews it. So it's as if we're sitting at a big, huge meal together and we're taking our time and we're allowing ourselves to savor each and every bite. Maybe we don't really like the dish that so-and-so brought. We wouldn't have wanted the dish. We didn't ask for the dish, but it's at the table and we had to try it. And now it's a part of our experience. There's so many other dishes to enjoy as well. So anything that you're ready to release, to stop holding on to, feel free to write that down. Offering it to the heart space, which can turn anything into gold. Sometimes I can figure this out. It's Rachel proofed. Do you know how to do it? I had it. I could do it before. There we go. I just needed to know you were there supporting me. All right. So here we light the candle of the past. Right here, right up top. Can y'all see it? We're going to shed light on the candle with the candle of the past. And when you're complete with whatever it is that you've written, and this may be something that you process over the next few days and do an additional ceremony on the solstice itself. So you don't have to exhaust everything right now, but just giving you a template to work with is to explore, like, what am I so incredibly grateful for in 2022? What happened? How have I grown? What challenges came into my life over the past year? Where was I at last year compared to this year? And how am I wiser? These are questions you can ask yourself. How am I more aware? How have I evolved? How did these really hard things, beautiful things, wonderful things, whatever they may be, how have they added to the richness of the soil? And in just 2 minutes, what we're going to do is we're going to lie back on our mat and I'm going to journey with you. Going to guide you on a journey to integrate what you've just written. And if you are somebody that did bring something from 2022, I'm going to invite you to place it somewhere on your body or close by you. Because we're going to use that as a tool to take into our bodies and allow our bodies to do the work for us so that our minds don't get clogged up with the how-tos and what-ifs, but our hearts and bodies will do it for us. So if you wrote things tonight, you can place them on your chest or your belly or at your feet, wherever it feels most comfortable for you. And we're going to go into the darkness. So I'm going to be just leaving these 2 candles on, and I'm going to be turning out the rest of the lights. There'll be enough light for you to see if you need to exit the room or anything like that. But I invite you to get yourselves nice and cozy. And symbolically placing your 2022 offering somewhere on your body or close to your body. And Mary, if you want that light out, you can turn that out. So in honor of the past, I invite each of you to take a nice, long, slow, steady breath in through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. You're going to do that 3 times, inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your mouth. And I want you to imagine, I invite you to imagine that you are standing on the surface of your heart. Maybe in your mind, you see an anatomical heart. Maybe you see a cartoon style heart. Maybe you see the heart chakra in the color green. Maybe you just feel the heart space and don't see anything in your mind's eye. All of those are perfectly okay. Imagine that you're breathing into the space of your heart, taking the breath into the heart and exhaling from the heart. The heart space has qualities, ways of knowing that we're actually connected to our heart. Love, compassion, joy, peace, care, wonder, courage. So just let yourself, maybe one of those words really resonates for you. Any quality of the heart that feels like truth to you, I invite you to gather it up like you're gathering wildflowers. There's a quality of appreciation. Clarity. There is no judgment here and no limitation. Now, as if you're calling to the symbol of your 2022, what you wrote down or the item that you brought, inside of you, call to it, pull it into the heart space. Let it be enveloped in the qualities of the heart. The mind won't know how to do this. So as the mind tries to get involved, we just say, thank you, mind. We're going to just be right here in this heart space. Even if it feels unfamiliar. And like little bubbles of light, the heart space is going to gather in your entire experience, 2022 and everything before that, and begin creating a beautiful compost. Where nothing is wrong or bad. Where everything that you have done, who you have been, what you have experienced is all beautiful, rich, nurturing, compostable material. You are not who you were 1 year ago. And you won't be this person today, a year from now. We're going to ask the heart to take everything that no longer serves us and just allow it to be composted into this beautiful gold, rich soil. From which we can continue to evolve and build. Beautiful, perfect, divine. Nothing holding you back. from receiving the fullness of your experience of joy, abundance, love, connection. Call it in. Let the compost that the heart is creating begin to drop down toward the bowl of your pelvis, the deep, rich soil of your root chakra. And say thank you. Thank you, life. Thank you, experience. Thank you, joy. Thank you, pain. I integrate you now. Into the embodied experience of who I am and who I am becoming. As you feel any level of that integration, even if it doesn't fully land for you this evening, you can come back and listen to this again and maybe explore it again. But I invite you to now start to move gently your body, bringing in breath, movement, and sound to whatever level you choose to integrate more fully what has been. Allowing yourself whatever you need. Letting your breath, movement, and sound release any excess energy or move anything that needs to move still. Churning that soil, embodying yourself more fully. Expressing appreciation. Thank you, thank you, thank you, life. Thank you. When that feels complete for you, come to seated. Sorry, I probably not sure which lights to turn on here. Whew. We'll keep it low. You doing okay with that much light? We're all really solsticey now. We don't want to come into the light yet. So any thoughts before we move forward? Any questions? Any aha moments or anything strange? Anybody want to share or ask a question? How many of you felt like you were able to, and there's not a right, wrong, good or bad answer, but felt like you were able to actually feel into your body? and feel like there might be a connection there. Now, if not, don't beat yourself up for it, because it can take practice. And also, we all process things differently. You might be somebody that needs more of the breath, movement, sound type of activity, and the journeying might not be as powerful for you. So that's why we're allowing all of it tonight. Combination of all of it, maybe one part of it speaks more fully to you than others. Okay. So our present right now, today, this week, right now, in this moment, in this room, you've got a whole world of things going on. Anybody besides me? Company coming, Christmas, whatever, holidays, you've got things that are happening right now. And isn't it fascinating that that culturally we've created so much activity around a time when nature is like, shh. So it's really counterintuitive for us to slow down when the whole world is moving really, really, really fast. So as we sit with the present, how can you, without getting a concussion, move into stillness? That doesn't mean go up on a mountaintop, and although if you have the option, maybe that's what you choose. But like in the reality of life, we can't necessarily just completely check out, right? We have people that we depend on us, and jobs, and somebody's got to feed the cat. So there's all of these things. However, how can you bring the winter solstice, the stillness, into your presence? So take a moment, explore in your journaling some things that you can do, or ways that you can be, so that you are the peace and calm embodied. We talk about peace this time of year, and joy, and all of these things. And oftentimes, most of us are just wanting to hide under the covers. So as a co-creator in your life, as a conscious creator of your life, how can you make it different if you choose to? Changing your quality of engagement with your present moment, or just noticing your quality of engagement. Where am I? Am I actually here, or am I at Target right now? This might just be running out of gas. There we go. How can we make tonight's practice and our winter solstice practice be a gift? I think someone's phone might be going off. Be a gift to carry us through. For those of you that are feeling overwhelmed or not sure, I'm going to offer a little bit of a tool. A, B, C. A is to allow. To notice, to be with what is in this moment, whatever it is. Allow whatever is happening right now to be what it is without resisting it. So you do have 25 people coming for dinner. Okay, so I'm just giving examples to make y'all nervous. You do have 25 people coming for whatever it might be. Okay, so this is actually what's happening. Breathe. B is for breathe. The breath allows the pause. And C is choose. How will I show up? How do I choose to show up in this moment right now? Is there an easier way? You can ask yourself questions like, what else is possible here? How can I approach this with more ease? With more fluidity, with more joy? Not as something to do, but as a way of being. Choosing our choice. So if we know we have to do something, choose it. Allow yourself to choose it so that it doesn't feel like such a burden. Using empowering language like I choose to show up to this experience with love and light, or in love and light, with kindness, with compassion, with patience, with an open heart. I choose to allow resources to come in and assist me. I choose to receive the love, acceptance, or assistance of others. This simple practice shifts our vibration. It shifts our mental, the way we're thinking about things. It shifts the way that we're in our bodies. And instead of feeling like a victim and being overwhelmed by whatever's happening in our present, we become a conscious co-creator. We get to actually make choices about how we're going to show up. This is also how we start to integrate our present moment so that 10 years from now, we're not integrating 10 years. Does that make sense? So maybe up to this point in our life, we've not really ever known how to integrate, create the compost and, embody our life experience. But moving forward, we can do that in the moment so that we're not having to compost everything at one time. It gets tiring. I'm sure we've all experienced that, where we get to a point in life and we're like, oh, well, I've got 35 years of stuff to process now. It doesn't have to take a super long time, but we can begin to process things in the moment, allow them to integrate, breathe them in, allow them to move and become compost in the moment. Does that sound like crazy talk? No? Is it possible to do that? You got to feel it. You got to be in the moment. And in those moments where I'm feeling something and there's a lot of people around and I don't want to have my little mentee bee right there. And I would, I'm not going to break out into my breath movement and sound and doing my whatever it is I'm going to do. I just go find a quiet place, or I create a quiet space for myself where I can actually integrate. Because we have, just like we digest food, we need to also digest what we're experiencing on the daily. so that it doesn't get what I call energetic constipation, where we get like energetically constipated and then everything feels overwhelming and we can't seem to move anything and it's heavy and ugh. So we can be fluid, and engaging with our heart space is the key. The heart is the big composter. So, you know, I have in my yard one of those big green composters that you can twirl around. I do that because it's really fun. Your heart is, that's what your heart does if you allow it. It's just continuously composting in the moment, compost. You could even say, okay, heart, compost this. I'm not kidding. Heart, compost this. Show me the way, compost it. If there's anything I need to do about it, let me know. Otherwise, take care of it. Thoughts, questions about that? Okay, to integrate that idea, the present, I'm going to invite you into, I'm going to turn the music up a little bit louder. You can lie and receive it in quiet. You can move however you want to do. We're going to do that for a few minutes, okay? Maybe you decide that you want to keep journaling, but I want to let you have some time to integrate your present situations and how you want to show up. Okay? It's called free time. As you start to feel complete with this portion, you can start transitioning yourself into the lying down position for our next journey. There is no rush. For our next journey, if you did bring something for 2023, bring it in close by you or on you. And if you didn't, don't worry about it. I got you taken care of. You've got you taken care of. But if you did happen to bring something, bring it in close. Just giving everyone a moment to finish up with So at home, if you have the ability to turn out lights, but have your candles close by. So I know I just told you to get cozy, but have your candle close by that you will be able to reach it. Make sure you're warm and cozy. Take a nice, long, slow, steady breath in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Do that 3 times. Allow your jaws to soften and relax. We've already started our journey in the space of the heart, so let's begin there again. You might see an anatomical heart or a heart that looks like a Valentine's Day heart. Or maybe you see the color of the chakra, the green. Or maybe something completely different. However it is that you feel connected to the space of your heart. And maybe you can envision again that bouquet of wildflowers that you gathered and all of the ways that you were able to bring compassion, love, joy, acceptance, honoring to what has been. And I invite you to imagine that you're on a journey walking along a path. Wildflowers in hand. Or maybe it's the token that you brought with you. Something that's meaningful to you. And as you walk along the path, you feel the energy of the trees and the water, the birds. Feeling connected to all that is. And you see a child playing in a field, meadow. And the child's laughing and playing. And you decide to say hello. And as you say hello, the child turns to look at you, and you can see that this child is you. Young, carefree, playful, excited, curious. And this child looks at you knowing who you are and says, keep going. And thank you. Keep going. Thank you. So you gather that experience into your heart space and you continue on your way. The beauty of nature all around you, of life, sun. Maybe you move through several seasons. Maybe there's snow and rain. But you keep walking. And you see a teenager hanging out by the side of the river. Maybe slightly frustrated or confused or exploring life. And you decide to say hello, and you know that that's you. And this teenage you looks at you with gratitude and with awe and excitement, appreciation. Says, thank you. Keep going. You can't help but wrap your arms around this teenage version of yourself and just let this part of you know that you've made it this far. And there's so much more available. And you integrate that in. Allow it to move into the soil of your heart. All the ways that you've been as a child, as a teenager. And you continue walking, feeling complete, fulfilled, whole. And again, you may pass through multiple weather changes and steep hills and deep valleys, windy roads, but you're fully resourced the whole time because you're here. All of the things, all of the guilt, the shame, the wishing that you hadn't or had, the heart just turns that into compost, beautiful gold soil. Because all that matters is this moment right now. And you get to the top of this hill, and there you are. You meeting you. As you are right now, today. Wise. Experienced. No longer a child or a teenager. And the you that you meet at the top of the hill says, what are you waiting for? Who are you living your life for? Keep going. Thank you. So you start to run. You feel a sense of freedom, joy, completion, honoring. The sky is clearer. The path is broader. The resources are more abundant because you notice them. You have fully integrated your child, your teenager, your current self, and you are soaring, choosing, being. And you come to a clearing and you see someone sitting on a bench. And you decide to sit down too. And as you turn to look at this person is you, much older, much wiser. And this older version of you turns to you and says, thank you. You kept going. Thank you for the beautiful art, beautiful masterpiece of this life. And you embrace with this older version of you, the wiser one that you've always sought, hoped you would find the wise soul to guide you right here, telling you that you're doing amazing, to not give up and to stay the course, connecting with your resources, abundance, love, allowing all of the parts of the past to just become the beautiful soil of your future. The deep, dark soil of what is to come. Space of creation. The pause, magic. And you pull all of these parts of you into your heart space. Integrate it into your body, your experience, your life. As its own masterpiece. Its own gift. Maybe you feel a radiant sense of joy or calmness, curiosity, excitement, much like the child that you met on the path, but with the wisdom of your wise self. It's in this energy that we step into our future. When you feel ready to gently turn your candle on or light your candle in your space, I invite you to do so. Just start to notice when you feel ready, all the different lights in the room, how unique they are. In size and shape. All emanating light, all different. For those of you at home, I'll turn the computer around so you can see. Each one of us a light. Can you still hear me at home? Give me a thumbs up if you can. So as we move through the solstice and we invite in the inhalation of our next year, the beginning of our 2023, how do you choose to show up in the world? What qualities do you want to take with you, bring into your life? And if you have enough light with your candle and you want to write some things down, you can. If you don't have enough light with your candle, maybe you can scribble some things and make them out at home, but we're going to leave the lights low for a moment. Really honor the darkness, the space where we can create our next best move, our next best choice. If journaling doesn't feel like the thing that suits you most right now, maybe it's just to lie there and continue to integrate, or maybe it's to use breath, movement, and sound. Anyone need more light? I can bring you more light. So as we're nearing the end of our evening, I just want to, again, point out we've lit the candle of the past, the candle of the present, and the candle of the future. We've integrated the past, we're integrating currently the present, and we have now the choice of how we want to move forward into our future. So I invite you to, at this powerful time of year, to take the time like you have tonight, and maybe even spend a bit more time as we get closer to the solstice, to really honor all that has been, all that you are experiencing right now, with an open heart as to what can come in the future and what you choose to create. I hope that I love that visualization of meeting yourself, the older version of yourself, all the versions of yourself, and integrating all of that and knowing that every part of your life has played an important piece and will continue to do that. So let it all count. Let it all be part of that rich, deep soil. And with that, bring our hands to heart center. And you can, after we say namaste, you're welcome to stay and continue journaling or moving or ask questions. But Let's gather our hands and our heart. Two of our most powerful healers, the hands and the heart, together. Saying thank you to our 2022, thank you to the present, and thank you to what is to come. Namaste.
Namaste.
There's no need to be in any rush if you want to stay and continue to integrate for a bit longer. And for those of you that need to leave, thank you for being here. I'm going to bring up a little bit of the lights, although this is quite beautiful. Well, that's perfect, actually. Well, probably need a little bit more. How's that? Is that okay? There. And thank you for taking the time to be here. I'm going to stop the recording.